What is good, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Major Push Wrestling, the talk show where we give wrestling the major push that it deserves. And I am not alone once again today. I am joined by a great group of gentlemen here. We have Dave, Dwayne, and C-Rod all joining us. And do not adjust your sets, folks. We are live again. And I am looking forward to talking this. I was in Vegas this week. Yes, Virtue, the week after WrestleMania. I don't choose when my girlfriend gets to get free trips for me out of the town that I live in. So I will take what I can get. I was right across the street from Allegiant Stadium. Unfortunately, there was no WrestleMania gear or anything like that or anything. So it's a little just a Vegas trip at that point, but it was super exciting. Jet lagged a little bit being back on the East Coast, but that is why we are not doing this on the normal Wednesday, but we are back to Thursday tonight. So thank you all for joining me. I very much appreciate it. Now, whether you're watching this live, don't forget to leave a comment in the live chat. I will bring it up on screen just like this. Welcome in, everybody. And yeah, so I'm going to throw it around now, see how you guys are doing today. I'll throw it right over to Dave. Dave, how are you doing today? You're muted, though.
Thank you, Gino, for having me. Good to be here. Glad you guys had a good, safe trip back from Vegas, and let's have a great discussion tonight.
Absolutely. Looking forward to a great discussion. Thank you so much, Dave. And now we've got Dwayne is here first time, rocking the Walmart shirt. Not the views of this channel do not directly reflect the views of Walmart, but we appreciate it. Dwayne, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Good to see you back and safe and sound. It's good to be fine to be part of the show. Been looking forward to it. I try to catch every episode that y'all have. First time being here live with you though, so I'm looking forward to it. Got a lot to discuss that I'm looking forward to about. So let's enjoy. Have a good time, guys.
I very much appreciate you being here, man. One of the four horsemen of No DQ Florida. And one of these days we got to get C-Rod on the No DQ, but that's how Dave, Dwayne, and I met. And, very forever grateful. We'll always shout out No DQ. So thank you so much for joining us. And we've got a good show here for you guys. And if I feel like I'm a little off, it is because I spent 5 straight days in Vegas and flew back on a red eye. So that is my excuse for the evening. Now, speaking of excuses, the man with plenty of excuses, C-Rod, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm showered. I appreciate you giving me the time to cleanse myself and come on here ready to go. We're 1 week closer to Backlash. We have some matches that have been set. I'm really excited to see you guys and can't wait for that to be here.
Absolutely. And next week we will be talking about what we're most excited for when the final card is established for Backlash. I wanted to address some of that, but we will see what we get to and what you guys have in store for the answers to my questions. So the first thing we're going to talk about is something that happened right after our last show. Last Friday, WWE did its annual round of post-WrestleMania roster cuts. Now, I see a lot of opinions about this, as we do every single year, and some of it is just rinse and repeat from some people and their complaints or their justifications for these cuts. Now, a few of the big ones, this is Zelina Vega and Aleister Black. Kairi Sane is another big one. And then there are others from NXT and others who haven't really been on storyline things like or have been hurt. Apollo Crews, Zoe Stark, things like that. So we've had about a week to let this sit in. And with that week, we've had the opportunity for the NXT call-ups to be made. And so, out with the old, in with the new. And I just want to say, these are all people, regardless of whether you think that they deserve a job or not. Everybody deserves to be able to provide for their family. These are all hardworking men and women, and I hope that they land on their feet. And the best thing that you can do, as Aaron said, if you want to support any of these people, is to continue to be fans of them, follow them where they go, buy their merch, and that's the best way that you can show support. Complaining to WWE, even though it kind of worked with R-Truth, it hasn't worked with 99% of the other people. So I don't know that complaining to WWE and TKO will do much, but I see both sides to this. So I want to hear what you guys have to say before I go ahead and give my ultimate thoughts on that. But at the end of the day, there are some good things that I'm looking forward to with the call-ups, and some people that, that haven't been utilized in the company. So I'm going to throw it right back over to C-Rod. C-Rod, what are your thoughts now a week removed from these roster cuts? Is there one that you want to bring up, or a couple you want to bring up specifically? And then we'll address the call-ups as well. So take it away.
Yeah, for the cuts, Gino, I'm just, I don't have a lot of controversy here. I think there's only one to me that stands out, and that's Kairi Sane. That was the absolute worst one. I think that you could make a case for every other single cut that had to be made. Like you said, people get in a tizzy and they make a big stir every year. Oh, well, TKO made $5 billion and they made all these cuts, but they kept this person. At the end of the day, it's a business. And with all of these cuts, what we'll talk about are the call-ups. And I think there's a lot of call-ups that are coming that we're excited for. I think that brings a lot of new blood and new life into the storylines that we've been talking about. They just haven't been there. And if you're getting cut, it's because you couldn't draw eyes for a storyline, or you couldn't carry a storyline, or maybe just management didn't know how to use you. You could say Aleister Black and Zelina Vega were just like Cross. The Wyatt Six, they came in, that had a massive impact for their, intro performance that they had. But then after that, they weren't really used much. They won tag teams. At least for me, it wasn't really that entertaining. But Kairi Sane, I wanted to see her with the Kabuki Warriors. I wanted to see her turn on Asuka. I wanted to see her, get her matches with Io and all of this, that hopefully maybe they bring her back. Maybe they don't. They say she's in Japan. People say this could be a work. I think it's a finality. But for me, that's my biggest one is Kairi Sane. So I'll pass it back.
Thank you very much. You mentioned the Wyatt Sixes, or the Wyatt Six. So I didn't even mention them, but yeah, that's definitely another notable name of group of people that have been on TV. But like you said, you don't think there's a lot of controversy with this. The biggest one maybe being Kairi Sane. And that's what I'm kind of hearing too, is like Kairi's still involved in the Io versus Asuka storyline. And yes, but Asuka addressed it on Monday. She's like, I don't need another Io. And that's kind of, a throwaway line to, it's like, that can be the end of it. Like, Asuka got rid of her because she doesn't need somebody holding her back, essentially, that could be potentially manipulated to turn against her, right? So that is a payoff. Is it the payoff that people wanted? No, I think the people, for the majority, wanted Kairi to beat down Asuka in like this big grandiose fashion and like team up with Io Sky, but then what? Now Io's a tag team wrestler again? I don't know. There are rumors that Kairi wanted to not resign, wanted to be out, maybe wants to go somewhere else and stuff. And that's a lot of the things that I don't see a lot of people talking about online, is what if the wrestlers wanted to be gone, right? Oh, they only, I heard on the review on Tuesday, people like very educated people like Evan were saying, this $1 billion corporation and these multi-million-dollar paychecks to these executives, but then they're cutting people who are make, a couple thousands of dollars. And that is absolutely true, though it happens in all areas of sports and entertainment and things like that for sure. But I mean, yeah, it's cool to be able to just feed your family and not do anything, but you're a wrestler. You want to wrestle. You want to be on TV. You want to be able to increase your stock, right? So we've seen AEW hold on to wrestlers just to pay out their contract. And it's like, is that like, what is better, setting somebody free or forcing them to travel, to every city just to only be backstage, right? Like what is better, in every situation and every individual might be affected differently as far as the talent is concerned. Like maybe getting cut is better for Black and Vega. Maybe getting cut is better for Kyrie. Maybe it's not better for the Wyatt Sixes. Maybe they would rather just be there and be around the team. Maybe it's not as good for the Machine Guns. But I'm going to pass it now over to Dwayne. Thank you so much, C-Rod. Dwayne, we've had a week to think about this and sit on these cuts. And we'll address the call-ups after we're done talking about the cuts. So just focus on the cuts right now. Anything standing out to you, or what are your thoughts now a week later? Like, are these people going to be that missed, or is it like one of these we want truth type of situations?
I agree 100% with what both y'all said. Excuse me. In the end, it's a business, out with the old, in with the new. If you want to go up there, you want to make it in this business, you got to go up there. You got to put a name for yourself, make people know who you are, make them want to be fans with you, all this and that. None of the cuts, really was a shock to me. Maybe Kyrie Sane in a way, but then what we heard about that, whether she wanted to be let go, this is something we probably won't never know. I don't see them bringing her back, to be honest with you, but some of the ones that surprised me a lot was Zoe Stark, for one. Just coming off of a major knee injury. She had just recently been cleared to come back, and then all of a sudden she takes cuts. Also with Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, Santos Escobar. They've been released here within a year and are already gone. So that was kind of tells me they brought them back just to keep possibly other companies from signing them. But it is what it is. If they don't know how to utilize those, then, they're going to have to get rid of them, so to speak. I don't think there's any comparison to them versus Karrion Kross and Scarlett whatsoever. But in the end of time, they're going to be fine. They're all talented wrestlers. Somebody's going to pick them up, or they're going to use a lot of them in some sort of way. They've been there long enough. They've saved their money up. So in the end, they're going to be fine. If they're very passionate about wrestling, wanting to go out there and make a name for themselves in the hopes of being brought back, they're going to go out there and do it instead of just sit at home, collect a free paycheck for 90 days, and then just hope that the phone rings for them whatsoever. Other than that, I think they're good. So that's all I got to say on it.
Thank you so much. And this is why I love being able to do this show, not only live, but also with you educated wrestling fans, gentlemen, because you are able to provide more than what I'm able to remember and what I've written down for the show. And one of those things was Zoe Stark. And I'm not hearing a lot of people talking about anything else other than, she was injured and she was set for a comeback and then she's released. So when I hear that, you could spin that negatively for sure. Not saying you are, Dwayne. When I'm referring to people's general opinion, it's more of the IWC and that vocal minority that we hear so loudly. But if I'm spinning this positively, WWE kept her on the roster, kept her employed, paid her, made sure she was fully healthy and then good to go. And now she's fully healthy and she can wrestle immediately in her 90 days. And maybe they even paid for her recovery and stuff like that. So that's the stuff we're not seeing, right? So WWE doesn't have to do this. They are a business after all. And business is about the bottom dollar. If you can trim some unused product or unused talent or unused merchandise, you get rid of it, right? Like that's what you do. They don't have to pay them for their entirety of the recovery process. It does stink because we would have liked to seen Zoe Stark have the opportunity to see what she could do. But honestly, again, like Aaron said, she wasn't really getting over. It was kind of crickets. Like JC Jane has more of a reaction on one show than I think all combined Zoe Stark had. And they teamed her up with Trish Stratus. Like if you're not getting over with that, like, I don't know. So hopefully this is an opportunity for her. Again, she's fully healthy now from the reports, and WWE could have cut her when she was injured. Now that would have been something overtly negative, but at the same time, like, it happens in every line of work. Like, dude, if you can't work and these types of things, sometimes you just get let go. and it stinks. You never want somebody to be fired, especially when Tony Khan or Nick Khan or whatever is pulling in multiple millions of dollars. Like, you think they could spare keeping people around, but why? Like, beyond the financial, what does that serve? What purpose does that serve? Is if people forget all about Zoe Stark existing, that means that when she goes over to TNA or NXT or wherever, then it's less of a big deal for them. Like, so I do think there's some merit in having, a job, but also you want to be on TV, you want to do these things. And thank you so much, Dwayne, for reminding me of that, because that was a point I wanted to make coming into the show. Now we'll throw it over to Dave. Dave, what are your thoughts on the WWE roster cuts? Now you've had about a week to sit on it and think about it.
Well, all I can say is, darn you, Gino, you took every word about Zoe Stark right out of my mouth. Because that's exactly what I was going to touch on. I think really they did her a really nice gesture. They made sure she got healthy. And exactly, she didn't get over with the fans, and she can go. Wherever she goes, I think she's going to kill it in the indies because she can wrestle. And you just pray for her that she doesn't get any more major injuries. She's had several that held her back. But as Chris and Dwayne touched on about Kyrie was the shocker, because I don't remember anyone being released where they were basically the middle of a story at that time. She was the focal point of that story. So my thought is, you hear she went back to Japan, then you hear that she said she didn't want to leave. Well, Dwayne's right. We won't know the truth because there's more to the story than we're hearing. There's definitely got to be more to it. And I think our truth was a once in a lifetime thing. And I think that might have had to do with Cena too, that he came back too. We don't know. I don't think Kyrie's coming back either, like Dwayne said. And it's too bad because it seemed she had some good runs too. And she was in the middle of a lot of things. She was on TV every week, involved, and even had a pin the Monday Night Raw before she was let go. All I can say is what a difference a week makes. When we were on here last week, we talked about WrestleMania and the aftermath, and then we didn't get into the call-ups on Monday Night Raw because we figured, okay, we'll hit on that this week when we talk, because we knew eventually, either before or after SmackDown, there was going to be some cuts with all the call-ups. Aleister Black, I brought this up on Tuesday night on the review, that I'm kind of thinking, because he was being used too. He was being used every week, whether it was backstage or not. And he had some good wins too. He was showcased in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I know it's not a big thing. He didn't win, but he tossed out more people than I think anyone else. So my thought was that they were going to release Zelina. And when he found that out, I think he said, we're a package deal, I'm going to. At least that's my thought. And I don't know if that may have happened before WrestleMania when they did the turn to McAfee too, because it sure looked like he was the one that was the voice of Norton's ear for a while. And that's how they were portraying it. Now, regarding the Wyatt Six, as C-Rod said, they came in with a bang. That first night was probably one of the best Raws, I think it was SmackDown, one of the best beginnings to a show with them, the way they destroyed half the roster. But really, they didn't have many places to go with them after that. The thing is, and at that point, they had basically blown up the tag team division from where it was the year before. And I think they at least got to do a tribute to Bray. And I think that was what Bo Dallas wanted to do. He just wanted to, I think this was part of it, and all the talk about possible. And then I think that's because I think everybody thought Alexa was joining them because that would have been a fit, but I don't know if that was ever in the plans. I think he just wanted to do a a tribute to Bray. You had Rowan back with them as the only original Wyatt member left, as a tribute. I think they did what they had to do. As far as the Motor Machine Guns, they came in, put the title on them right away, gave them a big bang, but then as soon as you saw them in catering, you knew pretty much that they were done. And I think the best fit for them, even though they're TNA originals, both of them, I think the best fit's AEW for them. And I think that's where they're going to go. Don't know about everybody else. Zoe Stark is, again, like you said, she performed well, but she never got over with the fans. Never got over. Even like you said, even with Trish. If you can't get over in a match with Trish Stratus, I don't think you're getting over. And that's why I think it was really, really generous of WWE to go ahead and pay for all her rehabilitation, because I remember that injury. That was so gruesome. It was one of the most gruesome injuries I saw on a show before. And I think they felt bad for her and they wanted to get her better. But those are my thoughts. And I think, and it's big business. And like you said, Evan talked about it. It's like corporations. I work for a corporation. And it happens. Things like this happen all the time. You give raises to the CEOs, and then you cut people. And but unfortunately, that's how corporations work, and that's how the business world works.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And again, I'm not saying that that's the way things, and I don't think anybody's saying that that's the way things should be, but that's kind of just the way things are.
It's just the way it is. It's not the way it should be as far as I'm concerned either, because I'm a small part of it, like anyone else with a job, and it's not the way it should be. But unfortunately, that's the way life is at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And like if it could be different, that would be great. But again, just like where you see with certain athletics and people wanting to get paid more, like, all the stuff we've seen over like the last 5 to 10 years with like women's sports compared to men's sports. And so at the end of the day, if you're not bringing in money, then you're costing money. And at a certain point, you're expendable to the company. And that's just the way it is. And there's really nothing, I don't see that changing in the foreseeable future. Great points. Dwayne, what's up, Dwayne? So he was saying that he meant to mention machine guns and slipped his mind. Did you want to add something to that, Dwayne?
Again, I agree with Dave about the machine guns as well. I do believe of all the people that were released or cut, I think they're probably about the main ones that we can almost guarantee is going to AEW, because AEW has already contacted them about coming in. They'd have made them an offer to come in, and then all of a sudden they signed with WWE. So apparently WWE was able to match that offer or more to bring them in. And I think that was pretty much what they wanted to, was just be probably one thing they wanted to do was be in the WWE at least one time. Say they've been there, they brought them in, they fast-tracked them to that tag team titles real quick, then all of a sudden, they could have just signed a one-year deal for all we knew. They didn't really, they probably just let their contracts run out. But I'm pretty safe bet with their style of wrestling, it's more of a fit for AEW, I think, than the WWE anyway, because they're just so fast-paced, and they're pretty much Frat seems the only one that they could go head-to-head with as far as their style of wrestling. But I can't wait to see what's going on for them.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and throw it over and talk about, just real quick, one, maybe two, if we can be quick about it, with the roster call-ups, because I do want to have time to talk about the main, the major topic that we have going into this. So what are one or two names that you're looking forward to? That'll be the next thing that we discuss. So start thinking of those. So I just want to give my final thoughts on the roster cuts, right? It is crazy that in the sports world in general, billionaires have convinced the public that millionaires or thousandaires or people who are making only $1,000 like should take pay cuts instead of them. Like you see that when negotiations with football players, like Dak Prescott's contract a few years ago, like they're trying to convince these guys who are only making millions that they should take pay cuts to stay on the team. Look at Tom Brady, how many pay cuts he took from a billionaire. Like, why should any person who makes less money take pay cuts from somebody making more money? But there is some of that, I also see that, hey, well, if you're not worth that, you're not worth that. And there's two ways to go about it. Again, whether or not people want to just be in catering and are just happy to be around the business and be backstage. I know I'd be thrilled to be backstage WWE every week. I don't care. But at the end of the day, if I think I'm good enough, I want to be on TV. And there are options now. It used to just be, it was basically WWE or bust, but there are options now. Multiple televised wrestling events, multiple wrestling events on YouTube. Now, the problem is TNA is partnered with WWE, but AAA is owned by WWE. So I don't see people going to, like, AAA is not going to pick up some of these people and things like that. But I do think AEW might pick up a few, but they don't need to do that. They should be focusing on their stars too, these ex-WWE guys and gals, so hopefully that's given you guys enough time to think about what you're most excited for your call-ups. And I'm going to go first on this one. So we've got a bunch of people being called up. We've got Joe Hendry, Sol Ruca, Ethan Page, the Fatal Attraction or Fatal Influence or whatever their name is, JC Jane and the other two girls. We've got, I'm sure I'm missing maybe some others, but those are kind of the main ones. And I am most excited about Ethan Page. I'm just going to say it. He's already being thrust into a semi storyline anyway, because WWE knows they know what they have in Ethan Page. He's reliable. He can get the job done on the mic, in the ring, as a storyteller, with gimmicks, all that stuff. Now, so overall, Ethan Page, is the call up that I've been looking for. Oh yeah, we're going to get Ricky Saints coming up too on SmackDown. I want to be most excited about Sol Ruca. I really do, but I have some question marks regarding her ability to be a character, work on the mic, work the audience. She's got the Soul Snatcher, top move, top finisher in the company, maybe in the whole wrestling industry. Okay. But I still have question marks with her. So for me, it's Ethan Page. I'm a Joe Hendry fan, but it seems like he's not going to be taken super seriously, even though he was showing some grit and determination in his appearance on Raw. The face he was making when he did the turnaround, he was trying to come, aggressively at Logan Paul and Austin Theory. So there's hope. But if I had to put money on it, right? Who's going to be the most successful call up? To me, it's going to be Ethan Page. So I think that's how we will discuss this question. Who do you think is going to be the most successful call up? And I'm going to throw it over now to, we'll go right back to C-Rod here. So C-Rod, what are your thoughts on the call up? Who do you think is going to be the most successful call up? And maybe who are you excited to watch, but it maybe won't be successful?
First off, Gino, you need to not disrespect Fatal Influence and Fallon Henley and JC Jane, okay? Because that is who I'm most excited to see be called up. I have watched them with NXT. I think they've been together for probably close to, 2 years now. I think it was somewhere around Halloween Havoc. They became a tag team together, and then they kind of grew. They had that third member. But like you saw when, JC Jane came in, she got massive heat. I think both her and Fallon Henley are great. They were both over. They were both champions. I'm truly excited to see where they go. It's really nice that they're being thrown in with Rhea Ripley, who needed a little bit of a change after she's just kind of been on the hip of EO. So I think that is my most the call-up that I'm most excited for. Blake Monroe's coming. She hasn't got her debut yet. I believe it's going to be Friday. For SmackDown. I guess that's tomorrow for SmackDown, I think was the vignette that came on. I'm excited to see her. And like you said, Ethan Page is another one. I've heard people say that he is a more charismatic Austin Theory, which is really funny if you think about it. they are kind of similar in style, but Ethan Page has that it factor. I think his demeanor is a little bit more accepted. He plays that character very well. And I love that he plays off of Chelsea Green. I can always, get me some Chelsea Green. So anytime she's on screen, I think she'll be in the picture a little bit more, especially with Ethan Page now. So I'll toss it back over for time, but I think those are my top three.
All right, C-Rod, thank you so much for that. Again, one of the benefits of being able to do this with you fine gentlemen is that you guys remind me of some of the people that I forgot, right? Like Blake Monroe. I think she's got all the tools, and she just looks like she belongs on the main roster. I don't really care how she is in the ring. I don't even care how she talks. She just looks like she's a main roster, big time, top tier female in the industry. We know that, but she kind of does have that Tony Storm-esque-ness to her. And maybe I'm just
a copy.
Yeah,
at times.
Maybe I'm just thinking that because of the accent and stuff like that. But she's really got that class to her. Again, that look, right? So we'll see what she does. Matthew, shout out to Matthew in the chat. Ethan Page is Tony's greatest fumble, more than Cody and Punk. Now that is a hot take. That's a hot take. I think for sure CM Punk is Tony Khan's biggest fumble because CM Punk was moving the needle over 1 million viewers every show he was on, and now they're at 500,000 now. To me, Ethan Page is a great talent. I couldn't tell you one thing that he did in AEW. I didn't watch a lot of it, but I also haven't watched a lot of NXT. But his stuff with the NXT championship, the North American championship, the Chelsea Green stuff, all that is great. I mean, Cody, you could argue Cody because of what he's been doing in WWE, but they wanted him gone. The AEW fans, they're so unappreciative of what they have, and then they still want to brag about what they have. It's crazy. Imagine any WWE crowd ever in the history of the world. Imagine them chanting to a wrestler to retire. What? Imagine them booing somebody who has been so beneficial to the creation of that company. Okay, yes, they booed Hulk Hogan, so anything is possible. But even the most hated heels wouldn't be told to retire. They might tell Logan Paul to go away. They might, because that's what you want to boo a heel. But I don't know, man. I think CM Punk, if CM Punk was still with AEW, AEW would be still on the up because CM Punk is a needle mover. Whether you like him, whether you hate him, he's a needle mover. The stuff he did, and I think MJF's better off having had a promo battle with CM Punk if we never get one again. Thankfully, we got that. But yeah, I do that. Ethan Page is a great talent. But he might just be a mid-carder, and I think he's one of those guys that's he will make the mid-card entertaining and relevant without being a comedy act. Rusev's busting this guy up. I'm just gonna. It's not my business. That's funny, but realistic, and I really do like that. So thank you so much, C-Rod. We'll throw it over to Dwayne now. Dwayne, what are your thoughts? Who's gonna maybe be the most successful? And I don't mean to slander Fatal Influence, or I don't even know if I'm getting the names right, but JC Jane and company, she had mega heat, and good for her because obviously people must be familiar with her, or they did a really good job booking her on that show to where she's beating up 3 people that the crowd likes. And then when you see them again, they get to boo. And this is one of the benefits and one of the reasons why people should be appearing on the show multiple times. Yes, it takes spots away from other people. Who cares? These episodes are episodes of TV. Imagine if Game of Thrones only showed you a character once an episode. I mean, sometimes they only get, once an episode, but you want through lines and stories and conversations so you can start to feel how these things are changing. And because we saw her on multiple segments, we got to see this crowd react to that. Whereas maybe if they just had them beat them down and then next week they show up, maybe there's no reaction. So Dwayne, over to you.
I agree wholeheartedly for the fact about Ethan Page. Him and Chelsea Green got along so great because everything they touched and never did turned to gold and was successful. I'm sure Shawn Michaels right now is probably patting himself on the back because his exact words he said to Ethan Page when they brought him in, he said against his better judgment, he said, I'm going to give you a chance because I said, I have a feeling about you. And he did. He walked right in there, and first thing he done was become the NXT champion. He never once had a bad match. He never once had a bad rivalry or a bad angle in NXT. And I think he's coming up, and I'm already making a fast prediction now. Probably getting ahead of myself, but I already putting him in for his Money in the Bank winner this year. But, there's other alternatives to look at because you got possibly – I'm still tore up on Ricky Saints as well. I don't know if he possibly may go main event status or if he'll just probably keep him as a mid-carder. I don't know. With him being Cody Rhodes' buddy, though, so there ain't no telling how much pull Cody Rhodes has behind the scenes or not. But I'm seeing great things for all of them. Some of them's going to be a slow burn. Some of them's going to be, probably going to be quickly fast track because we've had a lot of call-ups, not just this past week, but in 2026 alone. And I'm seeing prosperous for every last one of them. So I'm interested to see where everything goes.
Thank you very much for that, Dwayne. Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm trying to get back on track with what we're most excited to see. And in wrestling and moving forward, we're going to be talking more about the positives. C-Rod so eloquently called me out a few weeks ago because we've been focusing on a lot of the negatives. So that's why I wanted this show and particularly moving forward. Obviously, we have a right to complain. We have a right to feel like we don't like things. And there will be discussed. But for the most part, I do like setting these shows up to be, what are we excited about? Where is the potential, right? And you guys have both mentioned some stuff we're really looking forward to. And, if Ricky Saints is in the main event scene, God bless him. But he did beat Obafemi. I don't know why they decided to do that. And then they had him get the title and then drop it in the ring and leave. I think he should have just done that without ever losing it. But it does not seem to be affecting him right now. And that's one of the most unique things about the professional wrestling landscape right now is NXT and its ability to, once you've completed this quest, you can move up, right? Once you're in WWE, you either move up to the main event or you don't, you fluctuate. But like when you're in NXT, you've done all you can do. You elevate. Your book is closed on that chapter of your career, and that whole NXT, everything you've done stands forever, can't be tarnished no matter what happens on the main roster. So that is one of the most exciting things. But I don't know. Ricky Saints, I was hyped when he came in, but we will see what happens with that. I do hope you're right. I just feel like him going up against Obafemi is what I was thinking about. But then I'm like, oh yeah, he kind of did beat him already. So maybe he does have I really hope that he comes out and he does not mention that he beat him. I think Ilya Dragunov, where has he been, by the way? I think Sami Zayn, all these guys, and Jey Uso that get to say they beat Gunther, I think that hurts Gunther's presentation overall. So I really hope he doesn't do that. But I'm Ricky Saints. I'm like, yeah, I beat Oba, and I'll do it a damn again. So we'll see what happens with that. And he's a good talker, so I think that'll work.
The match made no sense.
Honestly, I would have been happier with Javon Evans beating him. But like Oba can throw Javon Evans out of the ring through the announce table, and I really want to see stuff like that more. And hopefully WWE can feed him some local talent so that way they don't have to bury their entire roster with this open challenge that Oba's doing. But we'll see how that goes. Now, Dave, who do you think is going to be the most successful in these round of call-ups, or who are you most excited for? However you want to answer the question.
I have a couple. And first thing, though, they better not let Ricky Saints say anything about Obafemi because that would just kill what they've already built with him. If they do that, that'd be a murder job on Oba. So they better not do that. I think Ricky Saints was a decent wrestler when he was in AEW. He's a decent wrestler, but I think he's a mid-carder. I think, just like you, I think Ethan Page is the one that he wrestled. Dwayne's right. He's wrestled nothing but good matches. He wrestled good matches in AEW. He's a good heel. I'm glad that they got him involved in a scene for the Intercontinental title too, because I think they built something, and putting him with Chelsea was a great move because Chelsea has been a needle mover, even if she's a comedy act, because she's a good wrestler too. They just have put her in the spot she's been in. I think that was a good move to put her with Ethan. So I think Ethan's going to have a good impact. The other one that I think will have a really good impact, and it was mentioned by Dwayne, is Blake Monroe, and I think C-Rod might have mentioned her first, but when she comes in tomorrow, I think that's Tiffany's next challenge. I think you got the two blondes, the face against the heel blonde, and I think that's going to be, and I think that'd be a good match because Blake had probably the best female story in AEW history with Tony Storm. There's no doubt that was one of the best stories I've seen. And as much as a lot of people like to get on AEW about storytelling, they had a gem with that one. And as soon as it paid off, she came to WWE where she had been wanting to come forever. And so I think that's going to be she's going to have a real good move. And then the other one is C-Rod's going to like this. I am so interested after seeing the heat on JC Jane with Fatal Influence. And nobody mentions the third girl because everybody forgets her name because she's fairly new, but I know her last name is Reed, if I'm right. But I think that heat, and people are saying, did WWE pipe it in? No, I think they didn't. She definitely had massive heat because she was going against Mommy, the biggest female in WWE right now. And also, it's interesting because she'd been down in NXT so long, people were starting to wonder if she was ever going to be brought up. And I think and keeping that group together was a major, major positive move. If you would have brought her up by herself or the others but by themselves, it doesn't work. I think that faction is going to work. And I think you're going to start to see a faction of other women going against them at one point or another. Because with losing Bianca with the pregnancy, and I've heard people saying negative things about they're disappointed about that, but yeah, you can't be disappointed about somebody bringing a family into this world that she's been wanting a family. So she'll be back. She'll be back, and she'll probably get the biggest reaction you'll ever hear when she comes back too. But with her gone, they gained in one move. They gained Fatal Influence, and then they gained Blake Monroe, and they gained Rhea Ripley, their champion. All of a sudden, the female division on SmackDown turned around, I think, because it was so bad when you had nobody facing Jade, and then you just had Nia and up there. You didn't have many, but now all of a sudden they've turned around. They've gotten some major women up there, and I think it's going to be a good news for them. So Ruka, like Eugenio, she does have the best finisher. There's no doubt about it. But it's kind of questioning about that they waited so long after John Cena's last show, and they had her third in the Rumble, and it seems like they kept stalling on bringing her up. I don't know if it's because she's still fairly new in the business. That I'm not sure about. So it's kind of hard. I mean, I don't know if she's going to be the one that beats Becky. I'm not sure. I really don't think so. I hope it's Roxanne. I hope Roxanne turns face and beats her. But I'm not sure about her, just like you. But definitely my top three are Ethan Page, Fatal Influence, and Blake Monroe.
Absolutely. And that's a good point. I see a lot of people talking about, oh, well, why have somebody debut at the Royal Rumble? Why have somebody come and do a call up, but then go away? And these types of situations can be very confusing. I will say that to me, it seems like if they don't have a plan for them on the road to WrestleMania, they like to wait until after WrestleMania once a lot of storylines are finished and then they're getting to the cuts. And so they can do that moving forward. And I think that was one of the most confusing things to me about Royce Keys was it's like, okay, you debuted him, you're having him do this whole thing on Stephanie's podcast. And I was like, and then they're advertising him for his hometown and SmackDown. I'm like, why do this? Just wait till after Mania. But then he wins the Dre. Okay, that makes sense. That's why you bring him in before. If Solo
now
Exactly.
they're going to join the MFTs. now they want him to be on Solo's team.
well, listen, a lot of
Talking about
people
confusing.
don't like the MFTs. To me, I think that they are gold. I don't think they were ever going to turn on Solo. I don't think that anything like that. I think Tama Tonga is going to get kicked out of the group at some point, but I think he would best be served to stay because I don't see where he fits in on his own. I think Jacob lost a lot by going out on his own too early, and this is all bloodline adjacent, right? And people want to act like they're just rinsing and repeating the bloodline storyline. So it's been going on for 6 years. Well, actually, it's been going on for like 4 decades because this is a family thing.
Really?
So
Really?
you can always do something different. They separated, they came back together. It's a family thing. Some people might say, oh, it's nepotism this, nepotism that. No, like every one of these guys can genuinely probably kick everybody's actual butt. And like they're Samoans, you respect that culture, you respect the history that they have in the business. And even JC Mateo and Talatanga, who like aren't part of the family but are part of the family, like they're not going to get rid of Tama Tonga. He's Haku's son, and if they're not going to get rid of Tonga Loa, even though he's a botch machine, hopefully he does a little bit better. But I think there's a lot of mileage to still be squeezed out of that, and I'm really glad they went over the Wyatt Six, who were literally floundering ever since their re-debut.
Well, Gino, that told you, like Aaron said on No DQ, basically, that told you when they lost that feud, they were done. That was the writing on the wall. And also, I mentioned in one of the earlier episodes that you had me on when I first came on, that the bloodline may not show around it all that times, but they're never going to die. They're going to always get together when they need to, when it calls for it.
Right. And you could argue that they should have never kind of gone away, right? Like this is all every single time throughout the last 2 years, whenever Roman or Solo or Jacob or Jimmy or Jay or a Tongan show up face to face backstage, the crowd's like, ooh, like, because it's, that there's actual family ties there, and it makes it more important. Sometimes they pan back and it's a Sami Zayn and they're like, crowd's quiet. Sometimes they pan back and it's somebody else, crowd's quiet. But anytime one of these 10 people comes face to face with each other backstage, the crowd in the attendance always pops for it because it's a juicy, true thing. And we could go all day on that. But I want to address JJ's comment here. Shout out to Casa D18 Studios. They do great work. Go follow them, guys. We need to separate JC Jane's group from Jade and her baddies, have each trio on separate shows. I agree. We will see, though. It seems like they'll both be on the same show, but we haven't seen Jade yet. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm a person who likes factions. I think it gives the talent something to do, because if the Judgment Day didn't exist, and I know people are calling for the Judgment Day to be freaking disbanded and all this stuff, Finn Balor wouldn't have been on TV for the last 2 years if it wasn't for the Judgment Day. Roxanne Perez might not have been on TV at all. All these people, they're now on TV, even if it's a backstage segment, like the APA. Like some of the best segments when they weren't coming to the ring was just them doing stuff backstage, having a card game, doing this, doing that. Like that gives them something to do. It gives them people to have on their side and things like that. Like all this stuff. As soon as they break up the New Day, like we're not going to see one of them ever again. So you might as well have factions so that people have a reason to be around each other. If it weren't for the MFTs, half of them probably wouldn't be here. and maybe that's for the best, but I think there's stories to be told, and I think that there's wondrous things to have. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't really like Jade and her baddies, but again, we might have seen Michin and BFAB's name on that cut list if she wasn't in the baddies.
Mm-hmm.
So they're
Definitely
protect them. So there's two different sides there. Now, shout out to JJ again. Even if an NXT stars in the Rumble, got to pay off their storyline at Stand and Deliver, which is NXT's Mania. Absolutely. But sometimes that can work to the detriment where you kind of see the writing on the wall. But yeah, that's their Mania, even if they debut in the Rumble, because the Rumble's got to get the most eyes. It's the best way to get somebody that maybe the crowd isn't familiar with to be familiar with them for when their eventual call-up is. And that's what they did with Soul, and that's what they do. Oba and what he's talking about. Oba and Brock were face-to-face that whole match, basically, until Brock wanted to get eliminated when Jey Uso was yeeting. So it was like, but they never touched each other. It was Brock and Oba tossing a guy out. Ha, no, I can do it better than you. Ha, and staring at each other. Like, that is wondrous storytelling. And whether or not he comes back to the main roster after that or does stuff in NXT, you still have that stuff in your mind. So that's a great point. But you still have to pay off your storylines. I do worry, though, that it always feels like sometimes they are going out on their back. And is that super duper helpful when it comes to the main roster? I love that Oba dropped the strap on his own free will, and that was super strong. So with that down, guys, I want to switch to our major topic of the evening. That's what we will call our main event moving forward, our major push topic. And it's going to be right along the same lines as what we've been discussing, right? What are we super excited for, what we're most excited for. And right now, it's main roster stuff. It can be involving a call-up if you want. It can be involving a release and what they do elsewhere if you want, or it can be regarding WWE storytelling and storylines. And for me, the thing I am most looking forward to over the next couple of months, besides going to Backlash, obviously, is, and this is a part of that, is the Bloodline storyline coming back together. The MFTs didn't break up, so we have a potential for Solo and all this stuff to, dude, I don't think they're going to do this, but if they had Roman with the Usos and Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa and the MFTs all in one group, bro, like, that's just like a gang compared to the NWO if you want. But the thing is they're not letting people in who aren't family, except for Sammy Uso, who is an honorary Us and was absolutely necessary to be added. But they're not going to be adding in these people like that. I mean, okay, you could say Tala Tonga and JC Mateo, whatever. But they're already there. They're adjacent. They're his family tree, so it counts. Deal with it. I'm super looking forward to Roman Reigns appearing all summer and this Bloodline storyline. I wasn't watching wrestling every week like I am now back when the Bloodline was at its heat. The Bloodline storyline kind of got me back into wrestling again after the pandemic, and I stopped watching because I had things going on in my life. It wasn't anything against the product or anything like that, but I kind of did fall out around the same time that it was pretty bad. But that, maybe it's correlated, maybe it's not. I'd like to think my love for wrestling trumps anything bad that I'm watching, but I just really think that Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, his Bloodline, the Fatus, the NOIs, the MFTs, all this stuff, the Tongans, Haku's family, I think that is going to be stuff that is going to carry the company, and it can do it. Like, honestly, they can do that. WWE could cut half their roster. As long as they've got those things going on, we're still going to be interested because it's real. I mean, you know what I mean when I say that. It's real families, real storytelling, real easy to kind of book. It's just like, are we having riffs or are we not having riffs? Speaking of riffs, shout out to Aaron Rift. So for me, it's the storylines that we're going to see with involving the Bloodline and Bloodline adjacent people. And I just hope, as far as Roman being champion, it doesn't end with a bunch of screwy, overbooked finishes. I would like cleaner finishes. I would like them to have him retain the title in more authentic, more wrestling related ways, but we will see. Other than that, I am super excited. When Roman's music hits, every crowd is happy to see him. And I know damn well our ones will be to the sky when his music hits in Tampa at Backlash. I know damn well I'll be chanting Fatu. I'll be chanting Oba. I mean, I really hope we get Obafemi on the show. We'll see what happens, but I don't know. Everybody's calling Backlash a B pay-per-view. Anything that SummerSlam could be the next pay-per-view after WrestleMania, and it would be a B pay-per-view. That's what happens when you're following WrestleMania, but I still think that it can have an A result regardless. And shout out to JJ again. 100% Roman needs to prove that he can run with the title without bloodline interference. And he didn't have bloodline interference on Monday. He didn't have bloodline interference when he took the title from CM Punk. So hopefully that is a sign of things to come, because that was my biggest problem. He's going to cheat to win. He's going to cheat to win. He's going to cheat to win. People who deserve the championship aren't going to get it. And he's going to cheat to win, and they're not going to get any rematches for it. Shout out to the Cleaver, fellow No DQ, co-moderator. Howdy, Colin. Would love to have you on one of these shows one of these days. I'll reach out to you on Facebook about that, but that would be wicked sick. Love your opinions, love your takes on all of that. Thank you so much for being here. And everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It means the world to me and to the guys here. We love talking wrestling and giving you this content. And the more subscribers and likes we get, the more new eyes might be on this product. So with that down, we are discussing now what you're most looking forward to with the next coming months, however you want to put it. So I'm going to throw it over to Dwayne first. Dwayne, what are you most looking forward to post WrestleMania now?
Well, for starters, WrestleMania season's over with, so Monday Night Raw is official, the reset button for the follow-up to the next WrestleMania. I'm looking forward to a lot of things. I'm looking forward to the new storylines we have, to the new call-ups we've got. But one thing I always like to see, who's going to be the first to win a title for the first time? You got a lot of potential for it being this year. You got Obafemi, you got Breaker, you got a possibility of others who it could be. And I'm interested to see and excited as well. What are they going to do this year that they didn't do this year? Can they find something better that they didn't do last year, or want to try something new? I like this thing they're doing now with Obafemi, with the Open Obafemi Challenge. I don't know what the end result's going to be with that one, except, hey, he'll get enough wins up there. He'll possibly could get him a world title shot, maybe SummerSlam, maybe another one down the road. I don't know, but I'm excited to see it, because what's the end game going to be for the person if anybody beats him? Who knows? That's what's up in the air. That's what makes it so exciting. Another thing, I'm not a big NXT person, but I have really gotten back into it this last couple months. With all these call-ups they've got, they have pretty much taken the A talent out of NXT and put them on the main roster. And we saw a bunch of people coming in this past Tuesday night. And we got a debut from Evil. Well, I don't know. That's how I know him as. We don't know what his name is going to be coming forward, but he got a debut versus Tony D. We saw some names that we haven't seen in a while. We got Tavion Heights coming back, and apparently he's going to play a heel now. So I want to see him possibly Stephanie Vickers' boyfriend. What's his name? Miles Bourne. I want to see them go at it, have a story together as well. Some of these guys I've never even heard of, coming from Evolve, coming from LFG. It's interesting to see how they're going to do it. We're going to find out, because if anybody can make chicken salad, chicken shit and chicken salad, it is Shawn Michaels and them guys down at NXT, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. We think we lost Dave. No, there he is. Dave, hope everything's okay. Let's get the things switched over for the aesthetic. And
sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It said reload on my phone.
It's okay, Dave. Dwayne, I mean, that's a good point, right? Like, who's going to step up in NXT, right? I do wish I could watch LFG, but for some reason my YouTube TV doesn't have access to the A&E channel. I don't understand. and I can't watch that show, and I would love to watch it because it's like a more polished Tough Enough, and I love seeing how they like to build somebody up who maybe isn't a wrestler and stuff like that. Let's see here. JJ says the beauty of the new structure is that there's talent ready from Evolve to move up to the NXT proper. Cappuccino Jones, Marcus Mathers, Jack Cartwheel once he gets healthy, just to name 3. Yeah. And Aaron Burke, it's Gal, or 2 others. Right. So that's the kind of the same thing I mentioned earlier in the show about how NXT is unique in that it's got like people who can leave, but they don't leave the company. They just move up. Right. And this is the thing now WWE's got what we call in the sales world a pipeline. Right. They have people learning to wrestle the way they want you to wrestle. Because let's call a spade a spade. WWE very clearly doesn't want people wrestling the way that they do when they're in AEW when they bring them over. That's why Jade took so long to debut. That's why all these guys were taking a long time to do this. Even main roster stuff. Ethan Page, Ricky Saints is maybe the quickest, other than Cody and Punk, right? But these guys and gals are taking a while to get to the main roster because WWE wants them to wrestle their way, and what that means is wrestle for a TV audience, right? Knowing where the cameras are, knowing when the commercial breaks are, all these types of situations that maybe they're not teaching. Now, Lizzie Rain was impressive on Tuesday. Yeah, I need to get back into watching NXT. It does make when the call-ups happen a lot better. And this is one of those things I go back and forth with, the Titantron displaying just their name or, having the video package of them, but not knowing the music when it hits is definitely takes away from the excitement, which I think they know that people don't know their music very well. That's why they display their names moving forward. So we'll see how that affects anything. Now I'm going to throw it over to C-Rod. Now, C-Rod, what are you most excited for going into real quick? Cleaver says Will Cruz is going to be dope in NXT. The kid killed it in the Progress. And John Cena even mentioned him on social media. So we'll see what happens with these guys. Thank you so much, Colin. Appreciate you. Now, C-Rod, what are you most looking forward to or most hyped for going forward with the WWE or anything really?
Well, I was going to say, I really think that you should watch NXT. I think it's a really good product. Shawn Michaels is doing really good things. Ever since we went to that 3-pack of Tampa shows, I've been watching NXT. That's where I first saw Obafemi. I was like, man, I got to watch this guy. NXT puts on a really good show. So if you're not watching it, there's some good storylines. There's some great wrestlers. It'll be interesting to see who replaces who, like everybody's kind of talked about as the call-ups come in. For me, I think there's a lot of questions right now. I know that everybody's talking about there might be some big cemented feuds between Roman. Is Punk and Cody going to happen? Everything's resetting, and now you wonder with Brock retiring, what's going to happen at SummerSlam, but more importantly, what's going to happen at WrestleMania in Saudi. Are they going to hold Punk and Cody for WrestleMania? Are they going to do Roman versus Rock? Or, is Saudi going to pay enough to have The Rock come out and finally do Roman versus Rock? Where does Roman versus Oba happen? Oh, Roman during his promo, he said that he was going to be here all summer, and he said he was going to be watching Oba, this summer, and I'll see you again. So what does that mean? Are they going to clash at SummerSlam? Is that going to be some kind of feud that goes into WrestleMania? Is Roman only here for the summer? He said that he won't be a part-timer for this summer only. Does that mean he's going back to another movie at SummerSlam? Does he hold the belt and lose it at SummerSlam and then he goes on to do another movie? I think there's a lot of questions there. The one that I'm most interested in terms of the top storylines is what's next for Randy Orton. They have this Randy Cody feud going on. He loses to him at WrestleMania. Then all of a sudden, Cody's talking to Punk. Okay, well, where does Randy come back into this? Is he going to get another chance? Is he ever going to get the belt? Is Cody going to drop it? What's next for him hasn't been addressed. Hopefully they address it tomorrow on Friday. But that's what I'm looking forward to on SmackDown. For Raw, it's always about Seth Rollins. Where does the vision go? What is Seth Rollins going to do? Where do the Street Profits kind of fit into this feud? They're obviously just throwing back into the mix. But also, where is Gunther in all of this? You know, he just retired Goldberg. He retired Cena. You know, he retired all these people. He had a classic at WrestleMania with Seth Rollins. Where does his favor fit in? If it wasn't for Brock, is that still a work? Is the favor going to be to bring Brock back? Gunther's kind of floundering right now. They don't, you know, he's out of the IC picture. He's not in any picture for either of the belts. I'd really like to see them actually put him back into a solid storyline, not just kind of have him everywhere. The last thing I'll say is Finn Balor for me. He's hot. The Demon coming back was great. What are they going to do now that, you know, the Demon reemerged to beat Dom? Now Dom's crying that's not who I was going to fight. Are they going to keep feuding? Will the Demon come back up? Will Finn have a place with some sort of belt, whether it's IC, whether it's one of the two main titles? I'd like to see him get some sort of push. And then my absolute PS is Megan Walker. She's coming. She had her first in-ring match ever. She's a track star from Nebraska. She will be in NXT at some point, and she might overthrow Liv Morgan and maybe Roxy for me. Who knows? We'll see. Stay tuned.
I'm glad you mentioned her because her socials have been lighting up about, like, this is my day in the life of a WWE superstar. And I was like, who the heck is this girl? I was like, she's very, very good looking. And I was like, I don't know her. I would know her if she was on WWE TV. So I'm confused as to what's going on. And then, yeah, you're right. So she's still new to the process of that. But yeah, dude, yeah. Her and that new referee, not Jessica Carr. No, nothing against Jessica Carr, but I think WWE is, you know, again, it's an aesthetic business. Your looks matter just as much as your in-ring ability, just as much as your ability to talk, unless you're going to portray this monstrous creature like Kane, shout out Kane, or Bray Wyatt. Not that they're, you know, but like you're wearing a mask or whatever. So that, to me, I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, a few of the chats here, Tone Deaf Rebel should have been the ones released. Yes, I completely agree with that. Again, I could make a top 20 list of their top 20 best songs that they've made, and they have made some bangers, but for the most part, even their bangers have huge flaws to them. So that's definitely an issue. We'll see what's got up. Is it Oba versus Roman at SummerSlam? Yes. And if you look back on this channel, you will see that I was predicting that since before the Royal Rumble. Or right around the Royal Rumble. I've been saying Trick Williams and Obafemi should be beating two major champions for the world titles and WWE titles, respectively. And that one of the names on Oba I was thinking it could be a Gunther, it could be a CM Punk, it could be a Roman Reigns, it could be a Cody Rhodes, it could be a Randy Orton. So I completely agree with you on that. Now it's time to bring back Matt Riddle and finally get the RK Bro payoff. I see some heads shaking. I don't know if that's gonna work. To me, like, he basically was naked when he was wrestling, and you know, we're talking about an aesthetic sport. Like, I don't know, it just wasn't my favorite thing. Like, he was playing up this stoner gimmick and almost giving stoners a bad name, and
he's not playing it out. That's for sure.
And it's just wasn't working for me with that. Yeah, we already looked at that one. Cleaver, I'm hoping Trick Williams keeps climbing the ladder. Kid has been doing awesome work as late with those lemon pepper steppas. I mean, dude, like, Tricky 2 times. I think he's got more arguable upside and it factor than Oba. To me, personally, I think he does. Obviously, Oba's super over, and we'll see how they book him. But to me, I think that the booking of Obafemi is more important for Oba than it is for Trick. I think Trick is going to be able to make anything that he gets work, and I would love to see them both be champions leaving SummerSlam. Whoop that Trick.
Did you see Trick? Who was he talking to? Maybe Stephanie, and like his story on how he got into WWE. Did anybody see that?
I did not yet. Why don't you give us a short breakdown?
Stephanie McMahon today.
Yeah,
I
was
saw
Stephanie
clips of it. I haven't watched the whole thing yet.
Yeah,
right.
so he
I haven't seen it yet either.
He was trying out for the NFL, and the WWE got a hold of his NFL tapes, and that's how he got a shot at WWE. Was just purely coincidental from him trying out for the NFL, and then he came in and tried out for WWE and just had it. And he's been a star ever since. He said something had like 14 cents in his bank account when WWE asked him to try out, which is wild.
That is wild, because that was right before the college players, and then he said he was trying out for the Philly Eagles. The college guys and gals now get money for performing in college, and you know, they have this next in line. Yeah, he was Carolina Gamecock football star, and from what I remember, the coach at that time was really big on talking trash and stuff. So it's no surprise to me that he's got that ability to him. I think Trick original WWE appearance was during COVID as one of Apollo Cruz's guards. That makes sense. And it's funny because Apollo Cruz, he's released now. The best thing he's ever done was that Nigerian Prince gimmick. Unfortunately, Obafemi exists now, and they have the Nigerian King. So you really don't need the Nigerian Prince there anymore. But I do love this whole King of Wakanda, even though they're not really playing into it. Like, Oba's just giving King of Wakanda vibes, and I am so here for it. But then Trick Williams is giving, like he said, you know, this is the U.S. title. An American's now holding it. Trick is giving cocky American pro athlete vibes, and I'm also here for it. So I'm just super excited about the future. You know, we've been asking for like multiple years now to be building up these young stars and to have more people. The issue is you can only have so many people in the title hunt and so many people in the main event scene. Like the Intercontinental title scene right now is super strong. You got multiple people wanting the title. Like, good. Like, people should want the championship. I feel like we grew up and everybody wanted the world championship, but the storylines and what they're being told to want are less than that. Like you mentioned Gunther earlier. One of you, it was either Dwayne or C-Rod mentioned Gunther. Like, he's not going for the world title. He's like acting like it doesn't exist. Bro should be, but like obviously he's not going to, because they don't have a plan to put the strap on him, which is stupid. He should still be like interjecting himself and doing these types of things. But we'll see how it goes. I mean,
he needs to lose. They need to give people the L's. These unbeatable superstars have to start taking an L. Like, if he lost to Roman, all right, fine. That's a good L on his resume. But these top guys have to start losing if they all want to be in the picture.
Right. And that's why one of the people I thought that Gunther could drop the strap to would have been Oba, right? JJ saying that he was telling people were telling him he was dead wrong when he was saying Obafemi is everything WWE wanted Apollo Crews to be. I completely agree. Now, Apollo Crews is uber athletic, but you know, and so he was doing backflips or whatever. But this big imposing figure, like both him and Trick are massive.
Mm-hmm.
Like and I'm really upset that Pat McAfee didn't take a shot at Darby Allin and AEW, because you want wrestlers to walk through the airport and not to hound them, but you really want, when you go out to a bar or whatever, you see this massive guy, or you're at the market, you see this massive person, you're like, that person's probably a pro athlete or probably famous or probably a professional wrestler. Like, if not, they're wasting their life and their God-given gifts. But like, you want to be able to just identify that somebody is probably a pro wrestler just when they're walking around. And some of these guys now have that Roman Reigns aura, like all these things. And so I'm super excited about that. Now, Dave, last up is you, but certainly not least. Welcome back to the stream. What are you most excited for moving? What's the number one thing that you're most excited for moving forward, without obviously it being going to Backlash and hanging out with me, because how could anything top that? But
hey, we can't forget Matthew either, and C-Rod, and Dwayne, you're going to be there. You're going to be with us in spirit, definitely.
Spirit, for sure. And we'll all be on the predictions video. But yeah, just moving forward, like storyline wise, maybe it's WWE, maybe it's something in AEW, probably not. Maybe it's something in NXT. So what are you most looking forward to before we go home?
Well, definitely the Bloodline's intriguing. I hope they do different spins on it. I hope because the Bloodline has evolved a little bit. Now we're seeing them as faces now instead of heels, which is different. That's why you're going to see Roman get clean wins. And I think he's going to get a clean win at Backlash, but I hope there's an angle afterwards for our sake, because I want to see a pop at the end of it. But my number one thing is going to be and you say this a lot, Gino. You say sometimes things are as they seem.
Yep.
Well, I think that's exactly what it's like because Roman says he's going to be here full time all summer, which summer ends right around SummerSlam. And I definitely think Oba's going to take the title at SummerSlam from Roman. Now, who do they throw at Roman before then? We don't know. Clash of Paris is going to be coming up after Backlash, and maybe Gunther at that point. Maybe there's the favor there, and Gunther does take a loss, as C-Rod said. I think he needs to take a credible loss, not like getting tapped out by Jey Uso, but a credible fight, big time fight loss. But I just want Roman's definitely been. It's been different having him around. Now, shout out to our friend Noah Foster from No DQ and also his station, which you'll plug later.
Yeah.
But he said on the review Tuesday, he was like saying, and I ended up saying something because he said, why is he at a B pay-per-view in Backlash? And I said, well, knowing that Roman is from Tampa, as we talked about last week, it makes sense. He says he's going to be full-time, and it makes sense he's going to be at Backlash. That's his hometown. So, and then he said, oh, well, yeah, that does make sense, which it does. And Roman has been a man of his word, and I think it leads all the way up to SummerSlam. And we see Oba. And you said about Trick. Trick and Oba are two different types of men, two different types of wrestlers. That's why they can both get over so big, and they both win championships. And I think you're right. I want to see Trick win a major title too, because he's got the personality. He can go in the ring. He is definitely polished. He's a very and maybe a year or two ago I wasn't sure because it looked like Carmelo Hayes out of the two of them was more polished. I think Trick's more polished at this point, and that's why he gets over more than Carmelo, because Carmelo's a heck of an athlete, heck of a wrestler, but he doesn't have the promo skills that Trick does. So that's my view.
And then that's why people were like, oh, you should put Trick with Carmelo. And Carmelo was called up. Carmelo was the NXT champion, obviously, before Trick was able to do that. And, you know, Carmelo's got all the tools as far as he's a great in-ring worker. He's an okay talker. You know, his theme song, it is what it is. I don't know that it really fits him. Like, I don't know if he's actually him. I think Trick Williams is actually him. And that is one of the things now for that. But yeah, so thank you so much for that, Dave. Yeah, dude, there's a lot to look forward to in wrestling moving forward. There's also a lot for, if you want to look for it, a lot of stuff to be upset about, but it's a lot more entertaining to talk about and focus on the stuff that's fun. People want to complain about commercials, fewer matches on pay-per-views and blah, 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 or too long of pay-per-views and blah, blah, blah. Like, at the end of the day, I'm here to be entertained. So stuff like Danhausen going to the Miz's house, which is in Las Vegas, obviously, because they said there's Allegiant Stadium, could point to it, which I was right there, and I was like, oh my God, like I could probably point out where the Miz's house is based on this, because there's not a lot of houses out in the desert. But and then the next time, right after that, the Miz comes out for a match and he says, residing in Hollywood, California. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of wrestling logic that I'll throw out the window, but for you to show me that Danhausen came to this man's house and then points to Allegiant Stadium, and then he acknowledges, yes, that's Allegiant Stadium, so it's not just Danhausen seeing wicked far, and then tell me he resides in Hollywood, California. I get it. He's probably got multiple houses, but very clearly he resides in Las Vegas, and I wish they would have – I was paying attention to see if the next time he came out they were going to say that, and they didn't. So let's go to the chats before we get out of here. If Oba is on the trajectory of 2002 Brock Lesnar, says JJ, after seemingly retiring Brock at Mania, then Oba should beat Roman at SummerSlam since Brock beat The Rock at SummerSlam 02. 100%. I think that if you would argue that, then you are dumb. So sorry to anybody out there, because that's exactly what should be happening. Oba should be on that trajectory. Roman said he's going to be here all summer. He didn't see he's going to be here for the rest of the year, whatever. And I don't think Roman should be retired, but I do think that Oba should be winning the title from somebody basically unbeatable. He should not be beating, no offense, a Seth Rollins. He should not be beating oh my God, who else could potentially hold a title until then? I mean, really, that's it. He shouldn't be beating somebody.
Just Seth Rollins. He shouldn't beat Seth Rollins.
No, I mean, if he beats CM Punk, I think it's a big
Darby
deal.
Allin.
Not beatable. Sorry, Darby Allin. I mean, good for him. It's my fault that he won the title because I put that out there like once MJF won the title. I'm like, I think all roads lead to Darby winning it. Everybody was saying Ospreay, which made the most sense. But I was like, I don't know, man. Darby, I feel like deserves it. He's one of the only people besides MJF actually bringing name notoriety of AEW outside the company and outside of the shows. So and now we got JJ saying, and in between, Oba should win King of the Ring if the tournament takes place. Is there? Absolutely, because then that leads to
the SummerSlam,
getting a SummerSlam title match. And plus, if the ruler isn't then the King of the Ring, then it doesn't make any sense to me. He's already the king of Wakanda. He's already the ruler. He definitely should be winning. I don't care if it's predictable. You can at me if you think the predictability is a problem. I don't care. It should happen. The only thing that worries me is that Triple H likes to go against the predictability sometimes and pat themselves on the back like he did with Randy Orton winning Elimination Chamber. Nobody predicted Randy, and I think that was a big shocker and surprise. Okay, bro, like, come on. So
what about Money in the Bank?
No, he's not. I don't think Money in the Bank is for him.
That's after SummerSlam. It's after SummerSlam.
Is it after SummerSlam this year? Okay, but still, I still think that Money in the Bank is for the type of person who wouldn't normally get a title shot. That to me is who should be holding a Money in the Bank. Damian Priest, back in the day, and Edge. Ken Anderson, even though it didn't work out for him. I mean, I know even Kane won it. I mean, Brock won it, yes. But I think
Austin Theory
won it, and they told him to cash in
U.S. title.
U.S. title. He said he would never do that, so obviously that's what they told him to do. But I think that these guys and gals who wouldn't normally get a shot at it, that's how I feel about the Rumble too. Like the Rumble should be like a way for somebody who wouldn't normally be able to get a title shot to get a title shot. Like I agree with how they did it this year with Liv and Roman, but those types of matches to me are. Anybody can win. The King of the Ring stuff, it's like, no, the best person should be winning that. And I wonder if they might even feed Gunther to him in the King of the Ring finals. We'll see what happens. Money in the Bank is in September. We need Chelsea in the Bank. Absolutely. Chelsea Green would be a perfect example. She is somebody that that even Michael Hayes said on Unreal, she's not a main eventer, blah, 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 which is bull crap because she's the most entertaining woman in the company, all things considered. And and her gimmick with the Secret Service and stuff is over the top and it's wonderful. But she's a perfect example of somebody who is like can break through, hasn't broken through because she's been held back. Like Stone Cold, when he was winning the Royal Rumble, like he needed to do that to get the title shot because he was getting held down and nobody was letting, like the story was Vince wasn't letting him get the championship title match. So he needed to win the Royal Rumble against all odds and all that stuff. So that's the stuff I want to see. I'm super excited for wrestling as a whole. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan, even if you want to cherry pick and harp and ruin your day on the negatives and the things that you think are negatives, but they're really not. Like you're entitled to do that. But, I would say that you should maybe find happiness somewhere because there's a lot to be enjoyed. This is world wrestling entertainment. This is sports entertainment. This is to be entertained. If you're not entertained, you've got something coming up in 15 minutes on the show that might entertain you then. And if it's not entertaining you, complaining online isn't the way to do it because you're just going to get more people focusing and paying attention, like with the Pat McAfee stuff. With that being said, I'm going to throw around the horn. Thank you so much, guys. Shout out to Oofman. I cannot forget to thank Oofman for making all of this possible and allowing us to do the live show. C-Rod, where can the people find you?
At Crod's Pod, we talk mental health every Thursday. Find us at YouTube. Find us on Spotify. Listen to us. Always happy to have people reach out. We don't just talk men's mental health, women as well. But as always, I appreciate the Major Push Wrestling. Thank you to Oofman. Thank you to Gino, Dave, and Dwayne. It's been a great conversation. I always look forward to talking wrestling with my boys here every other week or so. And like we've mentioned a billion times, can't wait till Backlash. At Backlash.
Yeah, next week we're going to talk about our things we're most excited for Backlash. We're not really going to do predictions so much as what we're looking forward to. Dwayne, one of the 4 horsemen of No DQ Florida, thanks for joining us for the first time, first of many, hopefully. Where can the people find you?
Well, I don't have any plugs to pull in here. You can find me on Facebook though at Dwayne Axon. You can follow me there. Other than that, I like, share, subscribe to this channel like I do any other channel that has the pleasure of letting me be on there. So I will plug it as well. Major Push Wrestling. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. It's been a pleasure, guys. Gino, thanks again for allowing me to finally be on. There will be more. This ain't just a one and done. I plan on coming back anytime I'm available, or, as said, looking forward to it. It sucks I can't be with you guys, Tampa. It really does. But, hey, there's going to be a time and place where I'm going to get together. We're going to hang out. We're going to watch some wrestling, whether it be a live event or just to watch along as well, Just looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, we're going to have to get together one of these days for sure. You will be missed, but we'll be able to talk about it with you. We got the predictions next Thursday as well, which will be the day after. So this show will be back to its new normal time, live, 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Might toy with the idea of doing 6 p.m. Eastern just so Noah doesn't have to leave us so soon to go do the AEW stuff. Noah was supposed to be on. I didn't see his message, and there were some communication issues. So sorry, Noah. I definitely wanted you on here, but we'll definitely get you on next time. Dave, where can the people find you?
Oh, just like Dwayne on Facebook, and find me on Major Push, and definitely Gino. I appreciate you more than you know. You helped me forget about life for a while, and so does all you guys, C-Rod, Dwayne, Matthew when he's on Noah. I appreciate it more than anything, and I am so looking forward to getting together and also getting together with Dwayne. And you can find me on No DQ also, especially in the prediction shows with my Florida boys, Gino, Matthew, and Dwayne. We're going to do the 4 Horsemen prediction show next week, and before Backlash. And again, thank you. And it's been great seeing C-Rod and getting together with Dwayne again. And of course, you, Gino. Definitely like, subscribe, share to Major Push Wrestling. We're going to make Gino big, big, big. This is going to be a big thing for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, like the man said, do as he says, like and subscribe, follow the channel. It means the world. Share it to somebody that likes wrestling, because I know a lot of people who don't like wrestling don't really want us sharing stuff directly to them. But, find somebody who does like wrestling and share this with them. It means the world. Shout out to Noah. And if you want to see the predictions results because we do the predictions on No DQ, and then we submit them to Noah, the hardest working, best looking, best dressed man in professional wrestling space. And then we do the predictions breakdown, the predictions league breakdown, the PLB is what there's now called. It used to be called predictions postmortem, but in an effort to get in that algorithm and search features, we changed it to predictions league breakdown. So we will do the PLB of the PLEs and PPVs every Monday after the shows, whether it's AEW, whether it's WWE, and sometimes maybe NXT. And that all rhymed a little bit. So with that, if you guys want to catch me, guys, just go to at Papagino0017 or search it into the YouTubes. You can find me out there doing Major Push Wrestling. I've got the other channel up, but I think I'm just going to post the shorts to it because I can't seem to get these live streams to go directly to it. So maybe we'll start recording and have that be like the archive for it. So you can just do at Major Push Wrestling to find that on YouTube. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. From Dave, Dwayne, C-Rod, Noah, the honorary Oofman, who's making this all possible. You guys are all rock. And thank you so much to Aaron Rift and No DQ, at Aaron Rift on YouTube. Go find him, nodq.com, all the things. We wouldn't be able to do any of this without them. Thank you so much, guys. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.